Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weird, wonderful world. And we're finally getting to the full rankings of all the Beatles albums, every single one. Now, I don't have every single one. The ones I do have officially are, of course, Please Please Me, With the Beatles, Beatles For Sale, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Club's Heart Band, The Beatles Self-Titled, which people call the White Album, Abbey Road, and Let It Be. And I have to admit, I do love it all. Now, I really wanted to make a video last night for it, okay? But it took so much time to put everything down because I ended up writing everything down on this here. And so it's all compiled and completed. So the way I'm going about it, okay, this is the rating system, all right? As I had tried to explain before, it's not the same rating system as Sparks because they're totally different bands, and I do kind of like and I do like Sparks better for many different reasons. But this is a pretty decent scoring. There's very little eights. All pretty much almost all are 8.5 out of 10, but there are very specific ones that got an 8, and you'll understand why as soon as I get to them. Now, I don't want to try to make this too long. I know I have a lot to get to, but it took the entire day yesterday, the entire day to get through all of that. And so by the time I finished compiling everything, it was midnight. I stopped at midnight, and then this morning, because I said, oh, I have to do the past masters too because those are essential. I do need to get to them. So I ended up doing all the past masters. Now, when it came to doing the White Album and past masters, because they're on two different they're two discs basically. I did the ratings for for side A and side B, but I'm going to give you the total number of both. So when I go to the rankings at the end, oops, sorry. When I go to the rankings at the end, I'm talking about the entire album. It will be the number for the entire album. And of course, as you know with my rating system, I do that. That's the numbers that I go by. But then I take all the numbers. Well, I'll explain as I go along. So I'm going to go in chronological order first of all the albums one at a time and give my scores and then the ultimate score, and then when I have all 14 albums done, then I'm going to do the ranking from the least best to the best. So, okay, so let's go start with Please Please Me, and then I can explain how I get the numbers that I do. So, with Please Please Me, the first song, I Saw Her Standing There, of course, that automatically gets a 10 out of 10. Misery, I gave that a strong 9. Anna, Go to Him, that's an 8.5. Chains, that's an 8.5. Boys, that gets a strong 9. Excuse me. Ask Me Why, 8.5. The Please Please Me, I know, I give it a 9.5. Love Me Do, I give that a 9.5. Although I think I may have given that more when I did the Past Masters, so it might be a 10 now, but we'll just let that slide for now. P.S. I Love You. I don't know why, but I always loved that song from the first time I heard it, so that gets a strong 10. Baby It's You, that's an 8.5. Do You Want to Know a Secret? That's a 9.5. A Taste of Honey, that's a 9. There's a Place, that's a 9. And Twist and Shout, of course, that gets a 10. Now, some of these get a little bit of a lower score than some other ones coming up because I know that certain songs later on they automatically get 10 out of 10, especially if I really like them and they're staples of of the radio, so you hear them a lot. But I always like those. Okay, so here's my scoring for Please Please Me. And as you know, how I get the scoring is I those are the initial numbers, and then I add all these up and I divide it the total number by how many songs. So the total score, whatever that would be, divide it by 14, and that's the number you get. So this one got a 9.178, which is a great score. Now everything like very good and great, those are so close, so close. But I had to try to be more discerning and give you to try to give you the most accurate score that I can, because I really do want it to reflect the order of what I like and why I like it. Okay, let's continue. I'm going to try to plow through these as fast as I can. It won't be long. We're talking about the second album now with the Beatles. It won't be long. That gets a solid 9. All I've got to do, that's an 8.5. All My Lovin', All My Loving gets a 10. I do actually really like that. Don't Bother Me, that gets a strong 9. Little Child, that's a 9. Till There Was You, that's an 8.5. Please Mr. Postman, a 9.5. They did a great job with that. Roll Over Beethoven, that's a 9. I still kind of like the original better, the Chuck Berry one. Hold Me Tight, that gets a 9. You Really Got a Hold on Me, that's an 8.5. I Want to Be Your Man, that's a 9.5. And Devil in Her Heart, that's a 9.5. Not a Second Time, that's a solid 9. And Money, That's What I Want, that gets a strong 10. Boom. So with the Beatles, got a 9.141. So take a look at that. There are a couple of albums that did get the same score, like the exact same score, and we'll get to that once I get to the rankings at the end. Excuse me, I still have the sniffles. So if I sniffle here and there, I do greatly apologize. I don't mean to be rude or whatever. I tried to blow my nose as much as I could before I started this. Oh, let's get to A Hard Day's Night. Some of this is a lot better. Yeah. So A Hard Day's Night, that gets a 10 out of 10, of course, right off the bat. I Should Have Known Better, that's a 9.5. If I Fell, that's a 9.5. I'm Happy Just to Dance with You, that's a 9, a solid 9. So, and I Love Her, 9.5. Tell Me Why, another 9.5. Can't Buy Me Love, 10, 10 right off, of course, absolutely. Excuse me. At Any Time, 9.5. I'll Cry Instead, 9. Things We Said Today, 9. When I Get Home, 9. I Can't Do That, number 9. Number 9. So, yeah, it's 4 nines in a row. And then I'll Be Back, that's a 10. Absolutely. Which gives it a bigger score of a 9.423. Excellent. I'm going to be hitting stuff here and there. I do apologize for that too. So now we get to Beatles For Sale, album number 4. So No Reply gets a 9.5. I'm a Loser, that gets a solid 9. Baby in Black, that's another 9. Rock and Roll Music, they killed it. So that's a 10. Awesome. I'll Follow the Sun, 9.5. Mr. Moonlight, that's an 8.5. Kansas City, Hey, 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 that's an 8.5. 8 days a week. I really kind of wanted to give it a 10, but no, it gets a 9.5. I do actually really like it, but there's other songs I kind of like more. Like Words of Love. I don't know. I like that a little bit better, so that got a 10. That's cool. Honey Don't, 8.5. Every Little Thing, 9. 9. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. That got a 9.5. What You're Doing. That got a 10. And Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. That's a 9.5, which gives it an ultimate score of a 9.285. Not bad. Not bad. All right, let's continue. Now, if some of the songs that you love, I gave a little bit of a lower score, remember, it's me. Music is subjective, and it's based on what I like from the stuff that I listen to on a daily basis. I'm into the more of the guitar rock kind of guitar heavy type of music more so than anything else. I grew up on heavy metal. I had there's certain things I like. So it reflects my taste in music. It doesn't reflect anybody else's taste. All right, let's help. I need somebody. Okay, number 5, Help. So Help, the title track, that's a solid 10 because I always love that. The Night Before, I gave that a solid 10 also because it's good. I've Got to Hide Your Love Away, that gets a 9. I Need You, that gets a 9. Another Girl, 8.5. You're Going to Lose That Girl, 8.5. As you see, nothing so far is below 8.5. I don't have any 8s yet. Ticket to Ride, that gets a solid 10. I always loved it. Act Naturally. Now, for the longest time, probably until I actually bought that album, I had no really idea that was a Beatles song. I thought there was some other person's country song. But it gets an 8.5 because I'm not into country all that much. Sorry, excuse me, my nose. It's Only Love. That's an 8.5. You Like Me Too Much. That's an 8.5. Tell Me What You See. That's an 8.5. I've Just Seen a Face. I gave that a 9. Yesterday, 9.5. It's a little slow pace for me, and I've heard it so many times. And it's still great, but it gets a little bit of an. I wanted to give it a 10 because it's such an iconic song in some ways. It's the name of that Edgar Wright movie where he's talking about where that guy he's the only one that remembers the Beatles after he had an accident. It's a great movie. I think I love that movie. And Dizzy Miss Lizzy, that's a 9.5, which gives it a score of a 9.01. Sorry, 9.071. So that's for Help. Okay, continuing right along. Rubber Soul. So yeah, first song, Drive My Car. That's a 10. 10 out of 10. Norwegian Wood. I give it a solid 9. I know some people will give it more, but it's a 9. You Won't See Me. That's a 10. Nowhere Man. That's a 10. Absolutely. Think for Yourself. 9.5. The Word. That's a solid 9. Me Shall You Smell. Oh, sorry. That's an 8.5. It's a little too slower pace for me. I like the more faster rocking songs usually, unless there's something special about the song that's a little bit extra. But What Goes On, that's an 8.5. Girl, that's an 8.5. I'm Looking Through You, that's a 9. In My Life, that's a 9. Wait, that's a 9. If I Need Someone, that's an 8.5. And Run for Your Life, that's also an 8.5, which gives it the same score as Help. So it matches the same score as Help with 9.071. So Help and Rubber Soul are pretty equal. Which one did I put above the other? You'll see in the rankings. So now we get to Revolver. Okay. So Taxman, I give that a 9.5. Eleanor Rigby, that gets a good 9. That's a solid 9. I'm Only Sleeping, that's a 9.5. Love You Too, that's 9. Here, There, and Everywhere, that's a 9. Yellow Submarine, I give that a 9. I always loved it. As much of a kid-sounding song as it is, it's still kind of cheery, and it makes me smile. So it gets a 9. She said, that's a 9. Good Day Sunshine, I give that a 10. I always love that. And Your Bird Can Sing. I probably would have given that a little bit of a lower score, but Susanna Hoff and and Matthew Sweet from the Under the Covers box set that I have, they killed it and they made me appreciate that song more. So it gets a 10 for sure. For No One, that gets an 8.5. Dr. Robert, that's an 8.5. I Want to Tell You, that's a 9. I always love Got to Get You Into My Life. Do, 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 do. That's a 10. That's a 10. Tomorrow Never Knows. That's a 9.5. So that gets a total score of 9.250. Oh, now we're getting into some good stuff coming up here. So album 8, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So the title track, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, of course, I give that a 10. With a little help from my friends, Joe Cocker does an awesome cover of that, so I give that a 10. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, that's a solid 10. Getting Better, got a little worse at 9.5, but it's still a 9.5, which means it's very good, Fixing a Hole, that's a 9. She's Leaving Home, that's an 8.5. Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, that's a 9. With You, Without You, that's an 8.5. When I'm 64, that's 9. It's a little, I know some people probably like it a little bit more, but it's a 9. Lovely Rita, I give that a 9.5, so I thought that was a little bit better. Good Morning, that's a 9.5. The Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Club Hearts Band Reprise, I give that a 10. I give that a 10 because it is actually cool and it's a bit rocking. So that always has a bonus. A Day in the Life, it's a 10. It's a 10 because it's so. I understand why people really love this album and how influential, especially what came before it, that it gets a nice, good score of a 9.423. So it's getting better. It's getting better. And then we get to the Magical Mystery Tour, which has surprised me. It surprised me. I can't believe the score I gave this. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry about my cold. All right. Number 1, the title track, A Magical Mystery Tour. That's a solid 9. I like it. The Fool on the Hill. That also goes a 9. So the next 3, Flying, Blue Jay Way, and Your Mother Should Know, they all get a 8.5. So 3 in a row at 8.5. I Am the Walrus. That's a 10. That's a 10. Hello Goodbye, that's a 10. Strawberry Fields Forever, that's a 10. Penny Lane, that's a 10. Baby You're a Rich Man, that's a 9.5. And All You Need Is Love, that's a 10. Those are so good. So this gets a strong score of a 9.363. Yeah, you'll see where it ranks at the end. Now, I'm going to be doing a ranking of all the 10 out of 10s that I choose, okay? But that's going to be a different video later on. I do want to compile that together. Like I said, this took me all day yesterday with little, like maybe 10, 15-minute breaks here and there, like after every couple of albums, because that's a lot to go through. And I had to write all these down, and that takes time too. But I love doing it because it really gave me an overview of all the albums. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to that. So now we're going to get to some good stuff here. Also with the Beatles, the White Album as they call it. And so I'm going to give you I'm going to do side A, then I'm going to do side B of the disc 2 of my CDs, of course, because I have it on CD. And then I'm going to compile the two together to give an overall score of the whole album. And that's what we're ranking is the whole album. But as it goes, the first disc, Back in the USSR, that's a 10 out of 10. Dear Prudence, that's a 10 out of 10. Glass Onion, that's a 10 out of 10. Oobla Dee, Oobla Da, that's a 10 out of 10. Wild Honey Pie, a little bit of a dip, that's a 8.5. The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill, that's a 9.5. I really like that. Come on, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's a 10. Happiness is a Warm Gun, 9.5. Martha, My Dear, that's a 9. I'm So Tired, that's a 9.5. Blackbird, that's a 9.5. Piggies, here's the other dip, 8.5. Rocky Raccoon gets a 9.5. Don't Pass Me By, that's a 9. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? I gave it a 9. Okay, I gave it a 9. I thought it was okay. It's a little repetitious and it's kind of silly, but yeah, I'll give it a 9 because I still kind of like it. I like the guitar work in it. I Will gets a 9, and Julia gets a 9. So that gives an overall score of a 9.82 altogether. That's just that side. That's not reflecting the whole album yet. Now, part two, the second disc of of this White Album. Birthday, that gets a 10. It's such a great song it's a great birthday song, and a song I'm going to have to play on my birthday and other people's birthdays from now on, and it is good. Your Blues, that's a 10. That's a 10. Mother Nature's Son, that's a 9.5. Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey, that's a 10. I love it. Sexy Sadie, that's a 9.5. Helter Skelter, doo 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 doo. Ever since Motley Crue did a rockin' banger of a job on that, I love it, so it's always a 10. Long, long, long. That's a 9.5. Revolution 1. That's a 10. That's a 10 for sure, because I always love that song. Honey Pie. That's a 9. Savoy Truffle. That's a 9.5. Cry, Baby Cry. That's a 9.5. And Revolution number 9. My first 8. That's the first 8. So it's okay. It's okay. I'll still kind of play it, but yeah. And then Good Night, that's an 8.5. So yeah, my first 8 out of there. So that gives that side an 8, a 9.461, which is still a great score. So combining side A and side B together, okay, So A plus B divided by 2 gives an average score of 9.421. So it's still a really good ranking for the entire album. I do the same thing for the past masters, which I had to include because you can't not skip that because it's just as important and just as essential as everything else. All right, here's the biggest bone of contention right there. Is number 11 here, Yellow Submarine. Side 1, of course, gets a strong start. Like the song itself, Yellow Submarine, like I said before, it still gets a 9. Only a Northman song, that gets a 9. All together now, that's a 9.5. Hey Bulldog, that's a 9.5. It's All Too Much, that's a 9.5. All You Need Is Love. I always liked it, so it's a 10. It's a 10. But then the entire second half, okay, because it's all nothing but symphony score for movie soundtrack stuff, that gets an 8 all down the board, which gives it, and I will say right now, it is the lowest score. It's the only thing they got under 9, so it's an 8.653. It really is the weakest album in their whole collection. But that side one, it gets such a strong, good, it's good. So if you only counting the side one as actual Beatles stuff, because all side two, that's George Martin all over it. So yeah, 8. And that's the only thing that weakens that album. But that whole side one, as you can see, I love it. Oh, here's some. Okay, the next 3 are special. Okay, number 12, Abbey Road. Listen to this. Come Together, 10. Something, 10. Maxwell Silver Hammer, 9.5. Oh, Darling, 10. Octopus's Garden, 10. I Want You, She's So Heavy, 10. Here Comes the Sun, 10. Because, 9.5. You Never Give Me Your Money, 10. Sun King, 9. Mean Mr. Mustard, I almost said Mayo, but Mean Mr. Mustard, that's a 10. Uh, Polythene, Polythene Pam, that's how you pronounce that. Polythene Pam, that's a 10. She came in through the bathroom window, that's a 10. And as I was playing it, it's hard to keep track because it all sounds like one song. They just blend so well into each other. So yeah. Golden Slumbers, that's a 9.5. Carry That Weight, that's a 10. The End, that's a 10. And Her Majesty, being kind of short in that, but I still kind of like it, so it gets a 9. So here's the score for that. It's a 9.794. If you're keeping track, you'll know which ones are the top and which ones are not. But we'll get to that ranking in a minute. There, I'm getting to it there very soon. I'm so sorry about my cold. I wish I could have done this without that. So here we go. Number 13. Let It Be. Two of Us. That's a 10. Dig a Pony. That's a 9.5. Across the Universe. I love it. I really love the Fiona Apple cover of it too. So it gets a strong 10. I, Me, Mine, 9.5. Dig It, that's a 9. Let It Be, I always love that. That's a 9. Sorry, that's a 10. Let It Be is a 10. Maggie May, really short, but it's still a 9. I've Got a Feeling, that's a 9.5. One After 909, that's a 9. The Long and Winding Road, that's a 9. For You Blue, that's a 9.5. And Get Back, that's a 10, which gives it a solid 9.500 as a score for Let It Be. Now we get to the Past Masters. I'll do the first side, which is phenomenal. Okay, you gotta hear this. This is awesome. So, Love Me Do, 9.5. Yeah, I know. I wanted to give it a little bit of a higher score, but it got a 9.5. From Me to You, that's a 10. Thank You Girl, that's a 9.5. She Loves You, yeah, yeah. I gave it a 10 on this. I think I gave it a 9.5 earlier, but She Loves You, where's that on? She Loves You. Was that here before? Well, anyway, I gave it a 10 after hearing it again. I'll Get You, that's a 9.5. I Want to Hold Your Hand, that's always going to get a 10. This Boy, that's a 10. Uh, Komm, Gib mir dein Hand, which is I Want to Hold Your Hand in German. Love it, love it. Doesn't matter if it's in German. That's a 10. Uh, sei Liebe Dich, which is I'm sure is She Loves You that in German, but that gets a 10. Long Tall Sally, that's a 10. I Call Your Name, that's a 9.5. Slow Down, that's a 10. Matchbox, that's a 10. I Feel Fine, that's a 10. She's a Woman, 9.5. Bad Boy, that's a 10. Yes It Is, that's a 9.5. And I'm Down, that's a 10. So for side A of Past Masters, it gets a 9.833, which is so far just that side is would probably be the highest score so far. And then on side B, Past Master side B, or the second disc would be Day Tripper. It's a 10 out of 10. We Can Work It Out, 10 out of 10. Paperback Writer, 10 out of 10. Rain, that's a 9.5. Lady Madonna, that's 10 out of 10. The Inner Light, it's 9. It's 9. It's a little bit of a dip, but it's still, I still like, I love the instrumentation of it, but it's not my kind of music, so it gets a 9. But I did like it. Hey Jude, I wanted to give it a higher score, but I don't like it as much. It's a little bloated. It's a little long. It's 7 minutes and 10 seconds long. It's their longest. It's one of their longest songs. So I give it a 9. But I give it a 9 because it is decent. I can't give it anything lower, but it does drag on just a little bit. But it's okay. Revolution. Now, this is the version of Revolution I love, okay? If I could have, I would have given it an 11 out of 10 because I think that would be awesome. So, it would have gone up here as awesome because it's my favorite Beatles song. I love the energy. I love how John Lennon sings it. I love that guitar work. Ever since I first heard it, I like yes. So Revolutions gets it's a 10 out of 10, but I want to say 11 out of 10 because it's just so good. Get Back, 10 out of 10. Don't Let Me Down, 9.5. The Ballad of John and Yoko, that's so good, 10. Old Brown Shoe, 10. Across the Universe, well, that's the World Wildlife Fund one there. It's again always going to be a 10 because I love that song. Let It Be has to be a 10. And You Know My Name, look up the number. It's a 9. So I give that side, of course, a 9.733. And then all together, both sides together, summed up in one, gets a full score of a 9.73. 9.783. So now, how does it rank? So once I'm So this is the last part here. Once I do the rankings, and then I can let you go. So, of course, I'll go from the least to the best. So, of course, on the bottom of the list is Yellow Submarine, Help, then at number 12, Rubber Soul, at number 11, okay, wait, 14, Yellow Submarine, 13, Help, 12, Rubber Soul, at 11, it's With the Beatles, then at 10 is Please Please Me, then at number 9, Revolver, number 8, Beatles For Sale, number 7, Magical Mystery Tour. To get that up higher in the list, I wasn't expecting it to be that high in the list. The White Album got to number 6. At number 5, Hard Day's Night. A Hard Day's Night. I put Hard Day's Night, but it should be A Hard Day's Night. Number 4, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. At number 3, Let It Be. At number 2, is Past Masters, because that's awesome. And of course, what had to be at number 1, because it's just such a brilliant album, and I knew it was going to be there, is Abbey Road. Abbey Road. Now, check out those scores, okay? As you can see, Rubber Soul and Help were at the same, at 9.071. We got, then, of course, A Hard Day's Night and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Club Heart Band, they had the same scores. So they got to, I mean, look, the Beatles, the White Album was just 0.002 of a difference. So it's like just below it. And of course, and you see where Past Masters is, and then you see where Abbey Road is. And it really does, it really does. I don't have to tweak it. I don't have to change that order to fit my personal view. The rankings said it all. So that is where they all land, and I'm pretty happy with that. So, like I said, I'm going to do a ranking of all the 10 out of 10s from the least best to the best, and we'll see which song got to the best. But that's another video for later on. I really hope you enjoyed this ranking, and it was fun. As I said, it took me the entire day yesterday to do it, to listen to all that. But when you're listening to all that in a row like that, like especially in chronological order, you can see and hear the progression of how they improved each album, and where they got, how they get experimental, and yeah, I think it's a beautiful journey. Doesn't beat Sparks or any of my top 5 for sure. I'm always going to love Tool, King Gizzard, Sparks, not necessarily in that order. There's Rush and Bell and Sebastian. I will always kind of love those for many reasons. And I tell you, if you do like the Beatles, okay, you should really try to get into Belle and Sebastian. I think they are just as good, if not equal, with the Beatles in many respects. I would almost say now, after having listened to all the Beatles, that I would put them on equal footing with Bell and Sebastian. I really do appreciate and love the Beatles a whole lot more than I did before. A lot of songs I didn't realize that were the Beatles is the Beatles, and I'm so glad I went through this journey and everything, and I'm glad I could bring you along. Whoa, 40 minutes now. I see my phone is buzzing. That's my best friend wanting to give me a message about meeting him or not. So I will be getting to that very soon. But I know that's my best friend sending me a message. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I might when I do my rankings of the songs, of all the songs, I will go into a little bit more detail and everything, and give you a little bit more of a review and stuff. But until then, you know how much I love you all out there, and I wish the best for you. I think you're all awesome. I love humanity. I love people, And if you consider subscribing to my channel, you know I will love you forever. I greatly appreciate it. Hit like, please comment, tell me what you think, tell me what your favorite albums are and why and everything, and you know me, if I can, I will do everything in my power to try to get back to you as fast as I can. And okay, I'm closing now. So everybody, please be safe, take care. I will see you on the flip side, and please, everybody, have a great day, evening, morning, night, afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.